सेवक सेवा में रहे, सेवक कहिए सोई, कह कबीर सेवा बिना सेवक कबहू ना होई। सेवक सेवा में रहे, अनत कहूँ नहीं जाई। दुख सुख सिर ऊपर सहे, कहे कबीर समझाए।
Seva is a Sanskrit word that means selfless service. The word selfless means being more concerned with the needs and wishes of others than one's self. Spiritual masters share their perspective that seva is anything we do in a selfless manner. As long as it is done without calculation, remuneration, expectation, or even a desire for praise or appreciation. Seva is the giving of one's self. It has no boundaries. It is not limited to serving any institution and can be done anywhere, at any time, for anyone. Seva is a voluntary form of giving that becomes a way of life. Mystics have explained that selfless seva is like the love of a mother for her child. 24 hours a day, she attends to her child's physical, mental, and emotional needs. The child's happiness always comes ahead of her own. She never calculates how much time, effort, or how much love and attention she gives to her child. Whatever she does flows freely from her heart out of deep love. Saints refer to this as Nishkam Seva, the act of serving with a pure heart for love and love alone, without any desire. There are two distinct types of seva. Outer seva, which is the means, and the inner seva, which is the end. Saints of the mystic path teach us that the highest form of Nishkam Seva is meditation, withdrawing the consciousness to the eye center and attaching it to the divine light and melody within. This is the real Seva, the highest form of service.
ਗੁਰਮੁਖਾਂ ਦੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਤੋਂ ਮਤਲਬ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਦੱਸੇ ਹੋਏ ਉਪਦੇਸ਼ ਉੱਤੇ ਚੱਲਣਾ ਹੈ। ਸਿਮਰਨ ਔਰ ਧਿਆਨ ਦੇ ਜ਼ਰੀਏ ਨਵਾਂ ਦੁਆਰਿਆਂ 'ਚੋਂ ਖਿਆਲ ਕੱਢ ਕੇ ਅੱਖਾਂ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਲਿਆ ਕੇ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੋੜਨਾ ਹੈ। ਜੀਂਦੇ ਜੀ ਮਰੋ ਅਗਰ ਮਾਲਕ ਨਾਲ ਪਿਆਰ ਪਾਉਣਾ ਹੈ, ਇਹ ਸਤਿਗੁਰਾਂ ਦੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਹੈ। ਜੀਂਦੇ ਜੀ ਮਰਨਾ ਕਿ ਸਿਮਰਨ ਔਰ ਧਿਆਨ ਦੇ ਜ਼ਰੀਏ ਨਵਾਂ ਦੁਆਰਿਆਂ 'ਚੋਂ ਖਿਆਲ ਕੱਢ ਕੇ ਅੱਖਾਂ ਪਿੱਛੇ ਲਿਆ ਕੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੋੜੋ, ਇਹ ਸਤਿਗੁਰਾਂ ਦੀ ਅਸਲੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਹੈ। ਇਸ ਸੇਵਾ ਦੇ ਜ਼ਰੀਏ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਤਿਗੁਰਾਂ ਦੀ ਖੁਸ਼ੀ ਹਾਸਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਔਰ ਆਪਣਾ ਫਾਇਦਾ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ। ਫਾਇਦਾ ਸਾਡਾ ਹੋਣਾ ਹੈ, ਖੁਸ਼ੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਤਿਗੁਰਾਂ ਦੀ ਹਾਸਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ।
Through this selfless act of meditation, the disciple expresses his gratitude to the Lord. It enables him to tune in and increase his receptivity to the Lord's grace, making him profoundly aware of the Lord's infinite love. It is through this seva that the disciple grows to realize the true self and thus experience the ultimate truth. Guru Amar Das Ji explains, Eha seva chakri naam vasse man aaye. This is true seva, the real submission, by which one gets dyed in the hue of Naam. It is only through this seva that the disciple reaches a stage where he desires nothing but the Lord and loses his own identity, enabling him to merge into the Supreme Being. Spiritual masters call those who practice this noble seva the Lord's real sevadars, his true disciples. Hazur Maharaj Ji explains,
You see, the real seva is meditation, seva to ourself, helping the soul to get released from the clutches of the mind, to help the soul to go beyond the realm of mind and maya. That's the real seva. Other sevas are means to achieve this end. You want to be humble, you want to clean your vessel, you want to create humility within yourself, you want to be useful, you want to have a very compassionate heart, loving heart, cooperative heart, so that you may invoke the grace of the Lord in your meditation. These are all means to achieve the end. The real seva is attending to your meditation.
Since meditation requires constant focus, the outer seva is necessary to help create a conducive spiritual atmosphere. Outer seva instills humility and keeps the disciple close to the spiritual master. It inspires the disciple to do more meditation. The more he meditates, the more grateful he feels, the more humble he feels, and the more he wants to serve, both within and without.
Other sevas are just to clean a cup so that we may be able to fill it with that nectar within. If the cup is dirty, it's not worthy to be filled. Because if the humility is not within us, we cannot taste that nectar within us. If we are attached to the wealth, we cannot taste that nectar within us. If our mind is consciousness is separated from the whole creation, we cannot taste that nectar within ourselves. When we are able to achieve all those three sevas, then only we are fortunate enough to taste that nectar within ourselves. Then our cup is full.
True mystics come to this earth with a divine and specific purpose. They come on a mission of mercy, born of deep compassion, to free suffering souls from the endless cycle of birth and death. The fragrance of spirituality attracts people in great numbers to the company of a mystic, so arrangements have to be made to care for them. As crowds of seekers swell to the hundreds and thousands, countless details are managed by volunteers who assist the Master in his divine mission. These are his sevadars. And it is through every sevadar's devotion and service that the Master accomplishes their spiritual transformation.
Seva is a gift from the Master. And it helps us in so many ways on the path. It keeps us in his environment. And it helps us to forget ourselves. So we can think of others, we serve the Master. And helps us in our meditation.
Seva is a drop in the ocean of love and help that God and your teacher gives you during your life. That is Seva. Seva actually is the elixir that makes the tree of love grows in your heart. That is Seva. Because love is the ultimate goal. Love is God and God is love.
Babaji briefed me that any seva given to you is not of a chair that you are going to occupy. The seva or the sheds or anything, any infrastructure, seva is of the Sangat. If the Sangat is happy with you, I am happy with you. Otherwise, there is no idea of doing seva, leaving your house, coming here. And if my Sangat is not looked after by you, I will not be happy with your seva.
I think seva is pretty much anything that you do without the I factor or without expectation of any return. Selfless service and nishkam service that he talks about in satsang all the time. So it could be anything from helping someone cross the street to helping someone pack a bag groceries or looking after a little child if need be. It doesn't have to be within the institution of RSSB, but anything that you do wholeheartedly and openly to help others is seva.
Somebody asked Babaji, you've always said that the most important seva is your meditation seva. What is the second most important seva? And Babaji said, seva towards your parents. And I remember Hazur's words as well. He said, we don't have the tongue to thank our parents, what they've done for us. They've raised us. We were there as parents for the children when they took their first steps. Why can't the children be there for us when we take our last steps?
Seva to me is a rare opportunity to forget ourselves. It is the chance to lose yourself in the service of others, and especially on this path because you are, and I'm almost afraid to say this, but you are really not serving the Master, but you are serving his biggest treasured jewel, which is his Sangat.
Seva is the cornerstone of my life. It's the thing I relish and enjoy doing most of all, because it's a very practical way of bringing the Master and the path into your life. If you have that way of looking at things, that everything is given by him, when you're doing seva, that makes it absolutely real to you because he has given you this seva to do. So you do it with all your heart, with all your love that you can muster because you know it's for him.
For me, I think seva is my anchor. It is what holds me steady and reminds me that the Master is always with me in every situation. It's what keeps me going through all the ups and downs that come before us in life. And I think I really wouldn't know what to do if I didn't have seva. So I think in one word, that's really it. It's my anchor. It's aside from the Master himself and the naam that he has gifted me with, seva is the anchor that holds me on the other side. So it's kind of like a balance.
And seva is my deep gratitude to my Master for all his blessings. On a lighter note, seva keeps us out of mischief.
Seva was first introduced when Baba Jaimal Singh settled at the Dera in 1891. At first, only food needed to be prepared and served to the Sangat who came to attend satsangs. But as the Sangat grew, there was need for a satsang hall and accommodation facilities. And so, out of immense love for their master, the Sangat helped in any way they could to build these structures. The great master often said that the smallest effort of the Sevadars was precious to him, that every moment, every drop of perspiration shed by the Sevadars was valuable to him.
During Baba Sawan Singh's time, Seva in Dera took a different form. In Dera, we didn't have any boundary wall at that time, so it was open from all sides. So a lot of disturbance was there. The people were coming in tongas only. At that time, there were no transport system. So they were haphazardly keeping their tongas and horses wherever they liked to. They'll tie their horses and keep it. So Maharaj Sawan Singh, he started what is called as Sawan League, in which Maharaj Charan Singh at that time, they were all youngsters at that time. So he was made the chairman or president of the league, and there were others. The interesting thing they told me was that whatever seva at that time was given by Babaji to these youngsters. So in their actual life, when they started working, they went into the same fields. Maharaj Charan Singh, he became Maharaji here. Dharbani became transport in charge here as well in service. He was in transport department. G.S. Randhir, he was in public relations. And Bhandari, of course, was looking after our langar. Somebody was given to look after, let there be no dogs to shoo them off. So that became security part. Later on, during Maharaji's time, the Sangat increase was manifold. So it came into lakhs at that time. Earlier on, there were no sheds. So everywhere they used to put shamiyanas. Now, one kanat of shamiyanas is 18 feet by 36 feet. So in an acre, you can work out how many kanats were joined together. They had a system, there were holes in it, there were poles, they will just put the knobs into it and then big ropes and all those types of things. It's a thing to be seen, how they used to do it. So when you are trying to make pandal for satsang, they used to work for 2-3 days and night to put up those shamiyanas. And they'll again roll it up after satsang as quick as possible. So within 2-3 days, nothing is there again, it's all cleaned up. In Maharaji's time, the July satsang, invariably there was rain. And everybody used to come fully drenched. Nobody left the place. But during Babaji's time, we started to have shed. Now you see it's, I think, 38 acres. So now everywhere sheds are coming up. But still Sangat is more. They still have to pitch shamiyanas for that. So they are doing it that.
Mitti ki seva or earth moving seva was one of the most memorable seva activities in the history of the Dera. It began in the 1960s when Sevadars from all walks of life came together to carry baskets of earth to fill deep ravines. The objective was to level the land so that space could be created for the langar, satsang sheds and other facilities. Almost every visitor at the Dera wanted to be a part of this harmonious effort. There were days when there were as many as hundreds of thousands of volunteers. Today, almost 60 years later, one can still recall the powerful synergy that made this seva unforgettable.
I mean, in Hazur's time, the thing that everyone remembers is Mitti Seva, which is sort of the classic case, you know, of sort of the best symbol of Seva, generally, where you're carrying dirt on your head and you're carrying with everyone else, you're getting equally dirty, and the only difference is some are stronger physically and some are weaker. But and you're all doing it under Master's watchful eyes. He's up on a slight height, watching everyone, and the sun is going down. It's glorious. You know, this is the kind of thing we experienced under Hazur.
एक बार की बात है, जब मैं भोजन भंडार में था, तो जैसे मिट्टी की सेवा में जाते हैं सभी लोग, जब तक महाराज जी बैठे रहते थे ना, तो पता नहीं लगता था कि टोकरी भार है कि नहीं है। जब ही उठ गए तो अगर हमारे को 10 फुट भी आगे जाना है तो वो भारी लगते थे, और जब तक वो बैठे रहे तो पता ही नहीं चलता था। तो इसको आप क्या समझें, वो आप जाने या वो मालिक जाने। तो सेवा वही जानते हैं, हम तो कुछ नहीं जानते, जो कराने वाला है वही जानता है।
For over 100 years, Sevadars have served at the Dera under the guidance of the Byas masters, levelling land, building roads, and creating an infrastructure to support the ever-growing Sangat. Through the sublime love of the masters and the devotion of their Sevadars, the Dera has gradually developed into a spiritual oasis capable of serving millions of visitors year after year.
Seva comes from heart. It's not a compulsion with anybody. Not that you have to do it, but you want to do it. It must come from within. And there must be love in doing seva. There should be no obligation that we have to do it.
Seva is always done with love and humility. Humility is a part of love. There is more happiness in giving than taking, more happiness in donating than accepting any gift, more happiness in helping somebody than getting a help from anybody. People have a wrong concept that they become more happy when they accept in something in charity or accept something in, you see, in help. The pleasure that you get by helping somebody, making somebody happy in life, nothing to compare with that pleasure. You have certain satisfaction with yourself that you have been able to do something good for somebody. So seva is always done with love. Otherwise it's not a seva. Seva is not mechanically working with hand. Seva is our intention to please another person, to do something for another person so that the other person may become happy what I am doing. So it means there is certain love within us for the other institution, for the other person, for which we are doing something. Automatically there will be humility. Humility is the part of love. Love is the part of seva.
All seva activities revolve around satsang or spiritual discourses. It is the principal method used by the masters to spread the teachings of the saints. It is the reason thousands of sevadars work tirelessly day in and day out. Throughout the year, the master holds regular satsang programs at the Dera. In between, he also travels extensively within India and abroad. delivering discourses and holding question and answer sessions. At every satsang program, exhaustive arrangements are made to provide for the visiting Sangat, such as accommodation, food and water, medical attention, crowd control, transport facilities, sanitation, parking, security, child care, and initiation interviews. The Dera has a population of 7,000 residents, out of which 1,500 full-time Sevadars serve the Sangat throughout the year. During designated satsang weekends, the Dera's population increases to as much as 500,000. During these days, thousands of Sevadars from neighboring states volunteer to serve the Sangat. They are known as Jatha Sevadars. Their commitment to Seva is essential in keeping the Dera running smoothly throughout the year. Their presence is a constant outpouring of devotion in action. Their energy and enthusiasm permeate the entire atmosphere at the Dera. Nearly 500,000 Jatha Sevadars serve annually at the Dera. Their service extends to all departments, including working at the Dera farms, cooking in the langar and food outlets, road works, sanitation, construction, landscaping, and crowd control. All over the world, Sevadars are happy to serve, day or night, in the scorching heat of summer or in the bitter cold of winter. Whether it is trimming a hedge to perfection, organizing a parking lot, or picking up leaves until not one remains, Sevadars have only one wish: to please the Beloved. Along the way, they completely forget themselves and fall in love with the joy of Seva, of working together as one in love and harmony to serve the Master and his Sangat.
That is a lesson, an ongoing lesson that is being taught, I believe, every day. What it means is, I believe, it's being able to understand that we can never do a task alone. It takes a team cooperating fully with one another in loving harmony, and then the project will come out very nicely. The end product will be very well. It also means not putting one's own self forward and realizing that we are doing it for a higher purpose.
The excitement and anticipation begins as soon as the dates of an official satsang program are announced. Preparations for the event start months in advance. Sevadars meet regularly to discuss and plan the program down to the smallest detail to ensure that the visiting Sangat is warmly welcomed and well cared for. This is Haynes Park in Bedford, UK. The Sevadars are preparing for Master's official visit, which is to take place in 6 weeks. The expected attendance is 20,000 people. Approximately 250 Sevadars have gathered today to put up a tent where the satsang will be held. It is a Saturday afternoon, and the volunteers have been looking forward to this weekend for several months. Trained by experts, they are ready to get started on this task.
So what's involved in the tent seva is that it's firstly been going on for the past 24 years. It started in 1994 when the Master wanted satsang to be held at Thames Park. Nobody had ever designed a structure of this size and complexity. It's 152 meters from the back of the stage to the bookstore, and this way it's 120 meters, and from the floor to the top of the roof it's 11.5 meters. The Sevadars have lovingly maintained it. Every weekend they come here, they open the fabric, they clean it, we repair it. We bring in the external company that made the fabric. They come here once a year for 2 days and they help us. They are only contracted to do a certain number of repairs. When they come here, they are so impressed with the Sangat that they are finding other things and saying, but this needs to be repaired and this needs to be, and you're saying, but that's not even in your contract. It doesn't matter, we will do it. And that's the sort of effect that they have when they come here. And it's not just the tent fabric. They see the whole mansion, the grounds, the way that they are treated, the way that they are served food. We are asking them, please have more, have more. And they feel that love and they come here and do so much for us. It's a very complex structure. It's not one where it's about brute force, it's about intelligence. Thinking intelligently to put up this very complicated structure, but in a way that's safe. And the external bodies who have been, the Environmental Health Office, the HSE, have all been worried. But when they come here and they see the organisation, that all that concern and anxiety that they have just is gone. Because they can just see there's a sense of control and order, and they feel that. Because you can't manufacture that. It's something that they feel and they see. And because the last inspection that we had, they had lots of questions, but we answered as fast as they were asking, we were answering. And they could see that we knew what we were doing. And people who come externally to observe the seva that we do, they're just mesmerized by just the quietness of everything, and there's no shouting or people being noisy or loudness. There's just a calm serenity, and it just unfolds, and the tent just goes up. And I always say that tent seva is a seva where it happens silently all year. It's erected silently, it's done, and the sevadars go home, and nobody even knows that we were here. And that is the atmosphere of tent seva. It's a very loving, calm atmosphere, and sevadars are naturally attracted to this seva and are looking forward to when we're going to dismantle, and then we start the cleaning process as well. I mean, last year, Babaji came to see us on both sides of the tent, east and west side, and he just says just loving things that fills them with that desire to keep coming. He said, I've got the best team in the world. And when you hear things like that, and just little things, he'll walk on either side of the tent and he'll just say things just to make people laugh, and he's just so loving, and he's said things like, there's a lot of harmony in tent, and you feel that harmony. And there was one year when behind the stage where Babaji comes into the tent, the fabric ripped, and it was a really dangerous rip. And I'm praying, and I'm saying, Babaji, I need you now. Please hold that fabric. Anyway, Master came out of his house, Gamal turned right, Babaji turns left. On his own, he walks up to that point, looks up at it and goes, and then walk back. There have been so many occasions like that where we've needed him, and whether he was on site, off site, doesn't matter. He's always been there. The thing I've learned in seva is that leave it to the Master. If you keep him in your mind at all times, from the moment you start your seva to the time it finishes, he'll be with you.
Similar preparations are held in other countries, such as Vancouver, where a smaller tent was raised to provide additional seating for the Sangat. Recently, at the Vancouver and Petaluma centers, one of the greatest challenges that the Sevadas faced was the weather. Months before the event, persistent heavy rain produced a huge amount of mud and standing water. And as the day of the program came closer, Sevadas worked day and night to dry the ground, filling it with earth and sand and then leveling it. Other areas were filled with wood chips and pebbles. 2 days before the event, just when the grounds were finally dry, it rained harder than ever, requiring the entire process to be done again. It was a huge setback, but the team of Sevadars faced the challenge together, head-on, and enjoyed every moment of working through the night to complete the Seva.
Night 10 o'clock, 10:30, we were trying same thing. It's always great.
We want to serve the Sangat.
This opportunity will never be.
At this one we did it 4th time. And tomorrow we might not be here to have another go. So we enjoy the moment.
I mean, you could take here in Petaluma, for example, this weekend. You know, there was the rains, and it looked for a while like they weren't even be able to put the thing on. You know, the disaster had struck. But they didn't lose heart. The master had said it would be all right, so they put faith in that. But that's not enough. You actually have to make it happen in a physical way. And they went ahead and did it. And they found 100, resources to means to sort of solve the problem of this, very difficult mud, the standing water. And they overcame it with courage, actually, courage and determination. Their willingness to work all night, confident that they could do it. It was a beautiful thing.
In 2014, when he was here last day, he was going, when he's talking to Sevadar, Babaji, and one guy just said, Babaji, are you happy with our Seva? I said, I'm very happy. Maharaj is very happy with all of you. Do not leave Seva, don't ask for it. Whatever you get it, do it with love and devotion.
One of the great pleasures of Seva is the sheer joy of working together. The laughter and fun, the flow of love and friendship that Sevadas share when they are united towards a common goal. When these tasks are done with an attitude of obedience and selfless devotion, there comes a great sense of oneness and harmony that cannot be found in worldly work.
Well, I think that for working in Petaluma, where it started with nothing, where people didn't know each other and had never done Seva, so many people, to see the bonding of the Sangat, the Indian Sangat with the Western Sangat, and just to experience the joy of that Seva was, I found it so fulfilling. Yeah, it was the first time anyone had really ever done Seva as a group. We had so much fun. What was really great is that the leaders would work. The organizers, the people in charge, they only were organizers, but they were also out there working on the roof, doing the construction. And so there was just this bonding between everyone. He brought us all together as a Sangat and made a lot of friends. Once we got started, Babaji came to visit, and he talked to us about Seva. And what he said, which was so beautiful, he said, we're all links in a chain, and one Sevadar is as important as the next. The manager is as important as the person who is in the kitchen. And if one of the links break, then it all falls apart.
One of my favorite memories of Seva is in the early days, Fayetteville, North Carolina was the first center in North America. So one of the first projects was we had to stabilize a hill. So we planted about I would say, 100,000 small pine seedlings. And we planted them in August. It was incredibly hot, like in the Punjab. All of us, doctors, lawyers, taxi cab drivers, teachers, people from all walks of life, Western, Indian, we worked all day from sunup to sundown. And at the end of the day, we were very pleased with our seva. We looked at the hill. We thought it was beautiful. That night, it rained harder than anyone could ever remember, and all of these little trees were at a puddle at the bottom of the hill. So the next day, we got up, sunrise, and we did it all over again. And it was even better and more wonderful. So every time when I drive by and see those trees, it reminds me of what we can all accomplish together when we work together with love and harmony.
I have a saying that I've lived by, and it's not what we're doing, it's who we're being. Because Babaji said, you can take all this away if there's no love and there's no harmony. Even with the garden that we have here. I was walking with Babaji one time and said, major crop that we have here is harmony. We want to grow harmony first. And with his, mercy and grace, he's allowed that. And it's wonderful to see. So I don't think there's any challenges that can't be met with love, patience, and understanding.
Before any satsang program begins, a Sevadar meeting is held and everyone is reminded about the importance of Seva.
आपको शांत रखना है। जब वो कुछ हो जाए मीठी आवाज से उनको मीठी बात से अपनी बात समझा दें। ऐसा अगर ऐसा नहीं ऐसा करें तो ऊपर सामने वाला जिद भी कर रहा है तो अपन शांत रहना है।
As Hazur explains in spiritual perspectives, quote, the real lover never bothers whether he receives or not. Love is in giving, not in taking.
In order for the Seva departments to run efficiently, team leaders are assigned to train and supervise Sevadars. There is a significant difference between the hierarchy in Seva and the hierarchy in a corporation. The fundamental difference is that here all jobs are equal. While someone may have the job of washing dishes and someone else may be a Sevadar in charge, in the Master's eyes, both are the same. There are no high or low Sevadars, just Sevadars. Team leaders, coordinators are just names for another type of Seva. Whether the Sevadar is a team leader or someone working under a leader, each one has the same responsibility to serve together in harmony. A key part of Seva is that it helps build our understanding. It challenges us to work with others who do things differently than we do.
At one point he defined a good Sevadar as, good Sevadar is a person who can work with everyone, period. With his seniors, with his juniors, with his colleagues, and do anything. So his line was very clear. A good Sevadar is a person who can work with everyone.
There is no high and low on this path. If we start to believe that because we're management, we're something special, it's the biggest trap we can fall into. The lovers of the Lord are the ones that do their seva with Simran, meditation, and love of Master. They're the true Sevadars.
If we try and show that I'm in charge, I'm the one who's calling the shots, it's not possible. We are a team. And it's teamwork that helps us. Because individually, we can do nothing. But teamwork and harmony are what help us. We can move mountains. And the Master likes that. He likes teamwork and harmony. And one has to be a good example. There's no question of trying to be bossy. We all are his Sevadars.
As a Sevadar doing an action, you have to listen and compromise what you might feel. Even if you see this might be a better way to do it, if your in charge has told you, you should do it this way, you should do it that way. So I think obedience is a very tough lesson for all of us, but it's the most important one because ultimately that's what we want to do is be obedient to the Master.
It doesn't matter where we're working, it doesn't matter what we're doing, it doesn't matter what seva we're given. It's an opportunity for us to glow, it's an opportunity for us to share with our brothers and sisters, for us to create an atmosphere of love and harmony, because that is all that matters, nothing else matters but that. The work, he can take it from a stone.
We are all working together for one purpose, to make the Master happy. We are all in the same boat, going to one destination. So we have to work side by side, shoulder to shoulder.
As long as that feeling is there of love, of service to each other, to help each other, there can be no problem at all. If there is a feelings of superiority, or bossing over somebody, or showing you see that you're superior to them and you're leader, then all these problem arises. And here everybody is a Sevadar. Everybody wants to help each other. It's all Lord's grace, nothing else. You see, when one is filled with love and devotion of the Father, all human qualities come in you like a cream on the milk. So when they come for love and devotion for the Father, so naturally no problem can arise.
Every satsang center based on the size of the property does its best to cater to the needs of the visiting Sangat. In Indore, for example, as soon as one steps off the train, Sevadars are waiting to direct the Sangat towards the buses that will take them to the satsang venue. But whether it is at a train station or at the gates of the satsang property, for the weary travellers, the first sign of an RSSB Sevadar is a welcome sight that tells them they are just hours away from seeing their beloved. Visiting any of the satsang centers is like visiting the Dera. While the properties might be different in terms of size and location, the atmosphere of love and devotion is always the same. Hazur would say,
wherever there is a Sangat, there is a Dera. Dera is not a place made of bricks and mortar and other things, you see. Dera is made of the devotees, of the lovers of the Lord, of the seeker of the Father. That is Dera. Without Sangat, there is no Dera at all. Dera is just your love, your harmony, your affection, your understanding, and your cooperation with each other. That is Dera.
In the centers throughout India, whenever possible, provision is made for the Sangat's accommodation to be on the property during the satsang program. At the accommodation department, visitors register and space is allocated to them. Their baggage and belongings are deposited in the luggage department, where sevadars keep it secure. In these satsang centers, for most of the day and night, the shed is used as an accommodation facility for the Sangat. One of the most remarkable scenes to behold is the changeover from an accommodation shed to a satsang venue. As the sun rises, thousands of people promptly vacate the shed and sevadars begin preparing the space for satsang. They tidy the area and sweep up the grounds, create partitions, and in less than 2 hours, the satsang pandal is ready to seat the visiting Sangat. Thoughtful consideration is given to the elderly and members of the Sangat with special needs. A special accommodation area is designated for them, where sevadars are available round the clock to help feed them, help them take their medication, take them to satsang, or just provide company for them.
सेवादार बहुत अच्छे रखते हैं हमको, और रात में कभी सोलेट आते हैं तो ले जाते हैं गाड़ी से, और जो भी हम कहते हैं वो सेवा तैयार है हमारे लिए। घर पे सदस्य कभी गुस्सा कर देते हैं, लेकिन ये नहीं करते हैं, ये बोलते हैं, ये अपने बच्चे से, अपने पिता से ज़्यादा रखते हैं अच्छे।
हमारा छुआ ऐसा है, साफ़ सफाई का सबसे पहले, उसके बाद में लंगर परसना और विकलांगों को ले जाना, बाथरूम, संडास ले जाना, और जो भी हो यहाँ तक दवाखाने में भी ले जाते हैं। हमारा बिस्तर ही यहाँ पर ही है, 24 घंटे ही है। आवाज़ आती है संगत को, हम उठ के खड़े हो जाते हैं। एक छुआ जीवन का लक्ष्य है, इंसान का, मानव का है, ये बिल्कुल बाबा जी के हुक्म है, छुआ में लगे रहो। ये मालिक की दया, फिर उनको संगत को बोलते हैं और आप आ जाना अगले साल छुआ के लिए।
You know, in the Delhi satsang, we have a special needs enclosure. It's in the pandal, and we have about 13,000 people coming, and we seat them in about 25 blocks. It's a huge number. And when it was started, we had set up a call center. We wanted to reach out to each and every elderly, infirm, physically challenged. Our sevadars were doing these calls. And there are instances when these sevadars were silently crying at this end of the line, talking to an elderly person at the other end, because they had not come for satsang for 10 years, some for 15 years, they had not had darshan. And here we were able to create teams who would go and pick and drop such people whose family could not bring them. Then we also have people who come with their families, but then they are handed over to our young guides, young sevadars, who take complete care of them, from taking them on the wheelchair to the pandal inside. They look after them, they're fed over there, escorted to the toilets, then escorted back to the cars or buses after the satsang. You know, the beauty of this seva is that these young children get to learn a lot. They learn compassion. They learn how to look after the elderly. And they treat the elderly as if they are their own grandparents. So this is a big learning for all of us over there. Not only that, you know, we have gone one step ahead, where we have brought the Sangat who is bedridden. They have been brought in ambulances, and we have a complete block for stretchers. In the last satsang in Delhi, we had about 100 such people who came on those 3 different days. And they were picked up from home by ambulance, brought there. We have extra medical arrangements made for them. And these young children look after, their attendants are of course there with them with the stretcher cases. But it is a sight to behold. And they are so grateful. There is a case I remember where a daughter was contacted for the mother, and the daughter said that my mother doesn't speak at all. She's in such a bad condition. But now that you've asked, and I asked her, would you like to go for satsang? She nodded vigorously. So, but I cannot bring her because I cannot climb down 3 floors with her. I can't carry her. So the call center people told them, no, we will pick up and we will bring you and your mother. She was overwhelmed. The Sangat gets overwhelmed with such calls, and they feel that Babaji has remembered us. They feel that he has called them.
Aaj ghadi at pavan bhavan Radha Swami aaye jagat chitavan जिनके ग्रह प्रेम पग तारन तिन जीवन का करे उबारन राधा स्वामी शब्द मनावन सुरत चढ़ी देखा कट चांदन
After months of preparation and anticipation, the day has finally arrived. Satsang. Inside the hall, Sevadars welcome the Sangat, ensuring that everyone is seated and comfortable. At international centers, Sevadars also arrange round-trip shuttle services from the entrance to the satsang venue to assist the physically challenged. At all the centers, volunteer doctors and nurses are ready to assist in the event of an emergency. The audio and video team Sevadars ensure that the Master's message is heard clearly throughout the hall, and the image projected on the large screens is tweaked to perfection. Shabad singers create a peaceful and devotional atmosphere in the hall.
Aavo sajna हो देखा दर्शन तेरा राम.
Finally, the Sangat waits in silent anticipation of the Master's arrival. His appearance on the stage is a joyful moment and a deeply personal one for the Master and his Sangat. On certain occasions, the Master gives satsang for about 90 minutes and at times has question and answer sessions to further explain the teachings of the saints. His answers are often served with a generous helping of his great sense of humor, leaving the Sangat roaring with laughter and the atmosphere filled with joy. In his presence, the world and all its troubles fade away. At the Dera and in many international centers, Sevadars simultaneously translate satsangs into different languages.
Su principio empezó por el Sadguru, por el Maestro. Por eso quiero sacrificar.
In some centers, a special area is designated for the hearing impaired. In most international centers, during the satsang, a family area facility is available for children under the age of 10. Although a parent or guardian accompanies each child, Sevadars are present to create a secure environment. In most centers, headsets are available for parents and guardians, providing live audio streaming of Master's satsang. Sevadars also provide entertaining activities for the children.
They grow hundreds of chilies, so that small patch.
After satsang, people greet each other, relax with family and friends, and enjoy the natural surroundings. Books, audio CDs and videos are available for purchase at a nominal cost for those interested in learning about the Sant Mat way of life. Information counters are easily accessible for those who need assistance of any kind. In several international centers, during the official satsang weekends, packed lunches are available for the Sangat to purchase at a subsidized cost. Sevadars start preparing these lunches at 4 a.m. They defrost and then heat wraps in the ovens so that the Sangat can receive them warm and ready to eat immediately after satsang. At Haynes Park, approximately 15,000 packed lunches are prepared each day for the Sangat. For Sevadars, wholesome meals are provided throughout the day. For many, meal times are a welcome break where Sevadars relax, bond and share their Seva experiences. Many of the Sevadars who work together establish lifelong friendships.
One of the wonderful side effects of Seva, there's one center that I go to that there is a lot of youngsters at this center. And they all came from different general satsangs and from all over the country, and they didn't know each other, and they were, in a certain way, a little bit alone. They might have been the only vegetarian in school. They might have been the only one that when they said, oh, let's go out and do this, they said, no, I'll pass. And then they go and do Seva together, and they become part of a team where they realize, look, I can have all of these friends. I can have this activity on a Saturday or a Sunday where all of us come from different places, different backgrounds, different castes, different colors, and we all do this together, and people become lifelong friends. And the only thing they might have in common is that, that joy, that pleasure that comes from spending hours working with each other so satsang can be held. And there's nothing like that, because you have a common goal and a common purpose.
Food outlets are one of the busiest areas of seva activity at the Dera. At the langar, throughout the day and night, sevadars constantly fuel the ovens as meals, snacks and thousands of chapatis are made. Tea is prepared and utensils are washed. Day and night, hard-working langar sevadars sing shabads and thoroughly enjoy preparing food together for their master's sangat. At an evening meeting, a lady said to the master that she had observed that sevadars often stayed up late, worked in difficult conditions and experienced discomfort. She asked if a certain degree of discomfort was an intrinsic part of seva. The master did not agree. He said that he didn't think the sevadars would agree either. They would say, "What discomfort?" And he added, if anyone should try to remove that seva and its discomforts from them, they would refuse. He spoke of the sevadars who cooked chapatis in the langar in the month of June. They stayed up late at night, working long hours in intense heat. But he said, when he went around the Dera at 2 or 3 a.m., many of them were sitting in meditation. One great gift of seva is that it so absorbs us. We completely forget ourselves. We forget our physical aches and pains, our tiredness, our cares and concerns, and immerse ourselves in the simple joy of the task at hand. Mahatma Gandhi once said, "The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others."
हमें तो पता ही भी नहीं चलता धूप है कि छाँव है, कैसा मौसम है। हम तो अपनी सेवा में लगे रहते हैं और सेवा करते रहते हैं। नहीं, टायर्ड बिल्कुल नहीं, टायर्ड नहीं फील होता ही नहीं है। बाबा जी की दया से पता नहीं अलग सा महसूस होता है, जैसे कि हम पता नहीं कहाँ आ गए हैं, क्या यहाँ पर क्या माहौल है, इसका हम बता भी नहीं सकते। जब बाबा जी शाम को सुबह यहाँ दर्शन देने आते हैं, तो जब वो दर्शन दे के जाते हैं तो इतनी एनर्जी मिलती है, प्यार मिलता है, तो सेवा करने का बहुत मन करता है।
सेवा एक ਇਹੋ ਜਿਹੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਹੈ ਜਿੰਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਡਾ ਤਨ ਮਨ ਠੰਡਾ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ, ਜਿੰਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕਰਨ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਬਾਬਾ ਜੀ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਖੁਸ਼ੀ ਮਿਲਦੀ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਅਸੀਂ ਬਿਆਨ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਇਸ ਚੀਜ਼ ਨੂੰ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ। ਬਾਬਾ ਜੀ ਨੂੰ ਉਹ ਇੱਕ ਚੀਜ਼ ਹੀ ਚੰਗੀ ਲੱਗਦੀ ਹੈ, ਨਿਮਰਤਾ ਤੇ ਡਿਸਪਲਿਨ। ਅਸੀਂ ਸੇਵਾ ਤੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇਹੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਸਿਖਾਈ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਕਰਨੀ ਹੈ, ਸੇਵਾ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਰਹਿ ਕੇ ਨਿਮਰਤਾ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਪੈਦਾ ਕਰਨੀ, ਕਿਵੇਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਬੋਲਣਾ ਹੈ, ਆਪ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਡੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਤੇ ਆਪ ਤੋਂ ਛੋਟੇ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ।
Some might ask, where does this rock-like dedication, this boundless energy for seva come from?
Actually, everything comes from him. He gives the strength, he gives the good thoughts. All what is good comes from him. So, at the end of the day, if you are open to his compassion, to his grace, you get everything. Just keep open. Open your heart, and God gives to whom he wants to give and as much as he wants to give.
There is an anecdote that comes to mind of Hazur Maharaj Ji during the time of the eye camp. And he brought Dr. Power to the evening meeting with the Westerners. And he introduced Dr. Power. He sat him next to him. He said,
all are quite familiar with Dr. Power's name. He is associated with our eye camp right from the inception. He is dedicated to the cause of eliminating blindness. He is well-known eye surgeon. Nobody can doubt that. Over and above, he is very humble. He is very lovable and a kind person. He is unconscious of his greatness. I have nothing else to say.
That was a beautiful moment in the life of a Sevadar that had given everything, completely forgotten what he was about. And the Master saying he is not even conscious of the greatness of his service.
During the Master's official satsang programs, when the number of attendees reaches hundreds of thousands, many wonder how Sevadars manage and direct the flow of people in such an orderly and systematic manner. Crowd control, security and traffic Sevadars are seen everywhere, young and old, men and women, guiding the flow of pedestrians, directing traffic, preventing bottlenecks, ensuring that everyone is safe. Some years ago, a newspaper article reported that the Delhi police sought crowd management tips from RSSB Sevadars after witnessing the smooth flow of traffic during the satsang program.
You see, biggest challenge for us in security is crowd management. Today here you must have seen, we have handled Sangat of around say 4 lakh plus at times. How to handle this crowd? When they have to enter inside the satsang, when they come out, entry, exit points, when they go for langar, canteen, sanitary problems. Everywhere you will find security sevadar standing there. And this is not a small thing, handling such a big crowd. You see, you must have read, you must have seen it many times. There's a small gathering, things have not been managed properly, there's a stampede, there are so many deaths. And in our organization, it's all thanks to Babaji, there has not been a single case like this. Well, at least in my career of so many years, last 55 years, 60 years about, I have never seen any such a case. We've gone through many such times when there have been problems, but with His grace, everything has gone well. We enjoy doing seva. Otherwise, we would have spoiled half our life in all these worldly things and all. Now at least we are away from those things. Life is full of tensions, Only the days you are here in satsang, seva, you are away from your tensions and all.
With a crowd reaching up to 500,000, cleanliness and hygiene is of utmost importance. Starting as early as 4 a.m., Sevadars vigilantly keep the property clean and ensure that the thousands of bathrooms are regularly sanitized.
My first visit in the sanitation department. When I just arrived, Master Ji asked Dr. Goyal and Mr. Krishan to take me to the sheds where they were plastering the surface of the ground with cow dung. And first I didn't want to, but because I was assigned to go there, I went with these two people. The minute I landed near shed, there was such a strong smell of cow dung that I just wanted to run away. And these people realized that I was very uncomfortable, but they sort of asked me to move a little forward. I entered the sheds, combed my way through, and my life changed. I saw a definite pattern of movement. I saw everybody singing Shabads, smiling, knee-deep in cow dung. I was amazed. I felt embarrassed that look at these people. I mean, it was pure joy just doing that plastering of the ground. And I think I'll never forget that scene, and I'll never forget what Seva really means.
One of the most inspiring Sevadars at Dera was Master Ji, head of the sanitation department for years. His dynamic personality and drive to serve motivated thousands to do their seva with love and enthusiasm.
I distinctly recall a patient, one of these summer mornings, a man wrapped up in a kambal, a blanket, was left outside a hospital gate. Masterji went there, and when he opened up the blanket, there was this man who was delirious because of high fever. And there was a strong odor there, which was coming from his right leg, which had a huge sore covering the leg. And there were maggots crawling all over it. And people who were standing around, they moved back a few steps when they saw this patient. But Master Puran Singh just picked him up like that, with great care, love, affection, holding him next to his chest and brought him into the hospital, where we cleaned up that wound with Sevlon, removed the maggots. Then we took him to the bathroom which was there, gave him a shower, and then he was admitted to the medical ward. And a few days later, his fever came down, and his maggots disappeared and his wound started healing. Because whenever there was an issue with a patient in the emergency or on the wards or in the OPD, we would always call for him, call Master Ji, there's a situation here. And he'll be there within minutes. And everybody wondered, does he ever sleep? Because he never asked for his second in command or, off time. And we were not able to catch him sleeping, because whenever he was not actively running around, he would sit down and wrap himself with his pagadi, his turban, and so that the legs were pushed against his chest, and he will just sit in meditation. So he was a great source of inspiration, not only in terms of tenderness and compassion to patients, but also to utilization of whatever spare time you have for meditation, rather than going to sleep or relaxing yourself by watching TV or something like that.
See, the best part of rotation was I started with Seva under Master Puran Singh. Their work, Seva would start at 2 a.m. and end at 6 p.m. And they were all never out of energy and full of mud. They, and the amount of effort they put in and whatever I saw was amazing. He used to motivate the Sevadars. He would talk about Babaji's grace and motivational stories of saints. And then he just had a way of putting the words across, and he'd just say, go, and people would just keep working. And he used to lead from the front. When I was there, I was probably just doing half the seva what everybody else was doing. I lost about 3 kgs in about a week. So that's not bad, Later part, when near his end, during those days he was terminally ill, but he didn't give up his seva. If he'd gain consciousness in hospital, he'd want to come and report for duty. So that was very humbling. So I just hope the next generation and our generation can even be a fraction of what the seva all these people did.
One of the most physically demanding sevas at the Dera is Luk Seva or road tarring seva. During the hottest months of the year, where temperatures rise up to 48 degrees Celsius, thousands of Jatha Sevadars come together to help build and resurface roads.
ये सेवा बाबा जी करवाते हैं, जीव नहीं कर सकते। ये उनके क्रिएटिव पावर ही सेवा करवा रही है। इतनी धूप में जितनी अभी बहना है वो कभी घर पे तो एसी से बाहर नहीं निकलते, यहाँ पे आके जो सेवा करते हैं सतगुरु की दया है, उनकी क्रिएटिव पावर शब्द में ही सेवा होती है।
इस सेवा में तो जो आनंद है दुनिया में कोई किसी चीज़ में आनंद नहीं। अगर कोई मिस कर देता है तो जितने दिन वो घर रहेगा वो ऐसे तड़पेगा जैसे मच्छी पानी के भी गैर तड़पती है ना, वैसे तड़पता है। जे बाबा जी दर्शन नहीं भी देके जाते तो हमारे को ये नहीं होता, सेवा में उतनी हमारे को ताकत रहती है, सेवा करने में उतना ही मज़ा आता है। बाबा जी नहीं भी होते तो सेवा तो बाबा जी आप खुद करा रहे होते, हम तो करने वाले नहीं हैं।
पहले जब शुरू में लुक सेवा स्टार्ट हुई थी तो उस टाइम हम बाल्टियों में तेल लेके चलते थे और भट्टी तैयार करते थे। 250-250 मीटर पर टैंक लगाते थे, उसमें बाल्टियों से तेल लेके जाते थे। आज तो बाबा जी ने इतना बड़ा प्लांट लगा दिया, इतनी बड़ी रहमत कर दी, हम बयान ही नहीं कर सकते। बहुत ही खुशी मिलती है हमें। सवेरे 5 बजे से बाबा इतना खिलाते हैं। सवेरे 5 बजे पहले नाश्ता आता है, फिर 8 बजे नाश्ता आता है, फिर 10 बजे हजूर महाराज के टाइम महाराज जी आकर कहते थे इनको लस्सी भी देना, शिकंजी भी देना। मतलब इतना खाने को देते हैं बाबा जी, इतना खाने को देते हैं। हम घर जाते हैं तो हम मोटे होके जाते हैं, हमारा वज़न बढ़ जाता है। घुटने भी रिप्लेस हो गए, दोनों घुटने भी रिप्लेस हो गए। फिर भी मैं, साहब को पता है, मैं सवेरे 5 बजे आता हूँ, रात के 7 बजे तक बाबा जी सेवा करवाते हैं। कोई थकान ही नहीं आती।
They are really very helpful and very willing workers. It is just to see to believe how they feed so many people and how they toil and work day and night and without any obligation to anybody. I even don't know who works and where they work and when they work. They just come, take their duties and do their work, pack up things, lock them, and then go back to their homes and come again next satsang. So it's really amazing the spirit with which they work.
I remember hearing Babaji proudly speaking of his Sevadars when he worked against all odds to build a shed for refugees in Kashmir. I still remember his face when he proudly put his hand to his heart and addressed them as my Sevadars. You could see how moved he was by this act of love.
Someone once asked the master why satsang properties are being acquired all over the world. He explained that the purpose of these properties is for everyone to do seva together in love and harmony. To learn not to hurt each other's feelings, to support each other and help one another. It is through this comradeship as children of the same Father that a special bond is created between the Sevadars.
When Babaji came here to tell us that we had successfully negotiated for this property, for this study center, he said, "You're not building a building, you're building a community." And we experience that community with one another by doing seva and with one another as Sevadars. It's not always easy.
We don't always agree. We don't all share the same personalities. Sometimes we struggle to get along with, one another. But ultimately, we are one family, and it is the Seva that brings us together and forms the love and the bonds that create that family, that community.
When Babaji came, he started buying properties, started creating centers. And I remember in the beginning thinking, why has he bought such a big place? It was probably about 60, 80 acres of land. And I just couldn't imagine why he was buying so much property just to hold satsang. A few acres would have been sufficient for a building. So a year or two later, I went there, saw the center. Michael was the chairperson at that time. He said, what happened is that, as you know, it has a very large Indian population, and these are mostly Punjabis, and most of them are from the rural areas in Punjab. Not so much the young people, but certainly the parents were all farmers. And as they started coming here, the young people would bring their parents and their brothers and their families over, and basically they had nothing to do. Back in India, they all did Seva, whether they were coming to the Dera to do Seva or in their big satsang centers in Jalandhar or Phagwara and all these places. There was plenty of physical Seva to do. Here there was nothing. And if they were not able to do Seva, they felt like an arm was missing. Something was missing from their Sant Mat experience. So he said what happened is we started doing vegetable farming and everything out here and leveling the land and stuff. And all of these young people, as well as their parents, would start coming out. And when they first started coming, they were all pretty bent over and tired. They'd been sitting in apartments and houses for several years. And he said within a year, they were running all over the place. They were jumping on tractors and having a great time. And he said it just gave new life to the whole Sangat. And that's when I realized that these centers, even though they seem big, they create the opportunity for people to do Seva. Nobody's forced to do it. Nobody's asked to come. All they ever say is there's need for Seva for this thing or this thing, and people come. So that's when I realized, actually, for many people on the path, Seva is a very, very important aspect of their life. Gives them that opportunity to serve the Sangat. They're actually serving the Master by serving the Sangat. And it's their way of giving thanks to their Master for giving them everything they've gotten.
A beautiful metaphor was described by a Sevadar during the construction of a study center. He writes, over 90,000 metal screws were used to assemble the center's steel stud wall. What is the value of one metal screw? Almost nothing. But what happens if you apply one small metal screw, then a second, then a third, so carefully with focused attention over a prolonged period of time towards a fixed purpose until you have fastened 90,000 of them? You raise a huge building. In the same way, what is the value of repeatedly turning around the 5 holy names in our minds? One round of Simran may seem ineffective, but when we repeat that Simran a second time, then a third, again and again, carefully, over a prolonged period of time towards a fixed purpose, we will raise not a building, but our consciousness. Perseverance is a necessary virtue on the spiritual path. Seva teaches the disciple that if he perseveres, there will be a breakthrough. Everyone faces challenges in Seva. When one's patience is tested and the temptation to give up is hard to resist, it is during these times the disciple learns to persevere. This is when one develops the mental muscles of quiet resilience and strength of will. This is why the masters say everyone needs Seva, and that one is able to do it is an immense privilege. The master once explained that Seva is like a pendulum. There are times when the pendulum swings to one side and everything is bliss. It is perfection, it is love, it is focused on the master. And then there are times when the pendulum swings to the other side, when the Sevadars are not on the same wavelength. Love is a distant memory and Seva is not enjoyable. Only the master sees the big picture and knows it will all work out eventually. It is a necessary part of spiritual growth to learn lessons in patience, tolerance, and faith. But it is during these ego-crushing phases of Seva that one learns the most important lesson of all: humility.
As a Sevadar, anyone first and foremost should have the faith and know that no matter what, he is watching, whether he's there or not at that point in time, but he's definitely watching. Have the faith, wo yaqeen, which we say or talk about in satsang, that bharosa and trust, and know that you're doing it for him, you're doing it for the sangat, you're doing it for his love and nothing else. And you have to let go. You have to remove the I of the I, basically, and just let go and forget about everything else.
A Sevadar once asked Hazur, if we notice we are developing pride when we do Seva, should we give up that Seva? Hazur replied,
You should give up that ego rather than Seva. Seva will help you to create humility sooner or later. But give up the ego which you think is attached to your type of Seva. By running away from the situation, we don't solve any problem. We have to tackle the situation.
Sevadars might sometimes think that a particular Seva has been given to them because of their capability, talent, or level of education. They might even pride themselves on virtues they believe they might have. But the great master used to say, if the Lord wants, he could make even stones do his work.
One of the biggest lessons I learned was years ago. I was given a seva to stand by one of the entrances where the people were all coming into the satsang during one of the big satsang weekends. And my job was very simple. I was standing at the top of the stairs and dividing the crowd as they came in, gents to the left, ladies to the right. That's all I did. And Sevadar came up to me and said that Mr. Mehta wanted to speak to me, and can I please come right away? And I said, okay, fine, get somebody to take my place. And he said, no, don't worry about it. We'll cover it. We'll take care of it. You just go. I said, okay, fine. So as I walked away, I looked back just to see that somebody had taken my place. And I watched the Sevadar pick up a tall potted plant from the wall and put it right where I was standing. And it's at that point I realized that the Guru can get his work done even by a potted plant. That none of us are indispensable.
Well, when I first started Seva, Babaji said, if you remember these 4 sets of instructions, you will always do well. The first one was, let there be grace in your Seva. In other words, decorum, dignity, compassion. Secondly, don't abuse your position. The third one was, do what's in the interest of the Sangat as a whole. And the last one, always remember to remove the individuality from your seva.
When one does seva with an attitude of humility, one recognizes the Lord as the real doer of all things and feels oneself to be simply an instrument in His hands. It is not unusual to hear sevadars say that their task was accomplished by His grace.
Every sevadar of every department feels that he has come and done the seva through us. We have to put in our effort, we have to practice, but at that moment when you're on the hot seat, whether it's singing or translation or construction or publications, a word will be thrown into your mind when you need it, or the note will come to you when you can't find it. And we know it's Him. We know it's Him. He worships Himself through us. I've come to understand that only through seva, because I haven't reached the meditation part yet. But seva, He's allowed us to see that He comes and He is the master of His own show.
Hazur Maharaj Ji used to say that just as a bird flies with two wings, so does the disciple need the two wings of effort and grace to soar the inner skies. In seva, this divine mechanism of effort and grace also applies. When one performs seva in a selfless manner, when one is happy to give of oneself in whatever capacity, without expectation, the rain of God's grace falls upon him.
We met Babaji for his blessings on 8th February 1998 at Ahmedabad. I said, Hazur, the post of Chief Engineer is likely to get vacant at the end of February at Chandigarh. If I get posted at Chandigarh, it will provide an opportunity to me to be near Dera and to do seva. Babaji replied, wherever you are posted, take it as the will of the Lord, seva, whatever and to whatever extent is required to be taken, it will be God done through you. In retrospect, I realize it was His ordain, because at that point of time, I never imagined I will be coming to Dera for seva. It is His grace only. He is the doer, He gets the things done. Honestly speaking, the only effort on my part was to accept any kind of seva, whether of engineering or satsang or administrative, being thankful to Him, taking it as His grace.
If you're offered seva, do it. Don't think about if you're worthy or if you're qualified or if you're good enough to do it. Just do it. Do your best to do it to the best of your ability and have faith that He will carry it out the way He would like to see it done.
It is by His grace we get an opportunity to do any seva of anybody. Everybody can't get the opportunity of doing seva, I would say. It is entirely His grace that we are capable and we get an opportunity to do seva. Many people may be wanting it, may be anxious to do it, they never get an opportunity to do it. Their circumstances don't permit them, their environment's atmosphere doesn't permit them, their family commitments don't permit them. So it is by His grace that we get this opportunity, I would say.
In the end, what motivates every Sevadar is the immeasurable love of the masters. The more one gives of himself in Seva, the more love he receives.
I think for me, my master is the best example. When he went ahead to help the needy people in Gujarat, otherwise in Nepal also, outside our country, he went and did Seva before anybody could realize what had happened. And he does everything without propagating, without expecting anything in return. So I think that's my motivational force.
Motivation, basically, it was, I would say, it was the love of Maharaj Ji. He was pure love. We miss him today because of his love, which was overflowing. A love of the master cannot be explained.
I was 26 years old when I heard that they needed a landscape architect for Hazur Maharaj Ji's hospital in Beas. So I wrote a letter saying, I know that, Seva takes a lot of effort, but I'm willing to do whatever it takes to do this Seva. And the next thing I know, I was at Dera for 7 months, 1983 to 1984. I just graduated from design school, so I was full of all these ideals. And all the gentlemen I was working with were all retired Army and railroad, and they wanted to make everything straight. And I wanted to curve all the roads around the trees and everything and make it very, organic. So I explained this to Maharaj Ji, and he said, yes, this is good because not a single tree should be removed more than is necessary, because it is with great difficulty that we grow the trees. Of course, Maharaj Ji left in 1990, and I thought, wow, this is the end. 1995, I got invited by Dr. Templer again, who was been the architect for the hospital, to help with the design of the site plan for Fayetteville. And we had done this plan, and we met Babaji in Hawaii. And we were sitting in a hotel room, and I was sitting next to him like this, and I laid out the drawing, and he goes, oh, so many trees. He turned to me, Babaji said, not a single tree should be removed more than is necessary, because it is with great difficulty that we grow the trees. I just looked at him and I said, you remind me of Hazur when you say that. So that was a pretty profound Seva experience.
In time, one begins to realize that Seva embraces everything. Seva becomes a way of living. Eventually, it becomes a lifeline. A few Sevadars were asked what would life be like if they did not have Seva.
A patient's life without the doctor, without his medication. Painful.
A hole in the heart.
I die.
I think I'd say, pointless. It would be pointless without Seva.
जब सेवा ना होए तो कुछ नहीं. सेवा तो बिना कुछ नहीं जिंदगी.
Hazur Maharaj Ji would often say that blessed are the ones who get the opportunity of serving others. Whenever anyone thanked Hazur for being such a gracious host, he would lovingly respond,
this institution belongs to all of you. Every center belongs to Satsangi. And Sevadar of every center is happy and take it as a privilege to serve the Sangat. It may be anywhere, maybe in your country, maybe in this country, it's immaterial. Because Babaji Maharaj and the great master laid the foundation of Sant Mat on love and devotion, on service, on humility, on bhajan and simran. and all those high traditions are growing. And I am glad to see it's growing. So it belongs to, all these institutions belongs to every satsangi, every one of you. You are part and parcel of all this.
Because many sevadars are attending to their sevas during the satsang programs, they do not get the opportunity to attend satsangs or have the master's darshan. The overwhelming blessing of selfless seva is that when a sevadar has love and longing, wherever he is, he will feel his master's presence. The pain of separation for the beloved is essential on the path of love. The Master knows the longing in every heart, so at the end of each satsang program, he gives his sevadars a timeless gift, infused with the power of his love. This is their sustenance, the elixir that quenches the thirst of the heart's desire.
रख दिया मन तेरे चरणों में, दृढ़ विश्वास अब तुझ पर मेरा, चिंता नहीं रही कोई मुझको, पक्का निश्चय है ये मेरा, चाहे तारे चाहे डुबो दे, सदा कहा मानूंगा तेरा, मांगू ना मैं कभी भी कुछ भी, कृपा दान यह दे दे मुझको, अगर नहीं तो क्या करूं सेवा, प्रभु यह तो समझा दे मुझको, करूं मैं कुछ या जो हो देखूं, तू का कहे ये बता दे मुझको, रख दिया मन तेरे चरणों में, दृढ़ विश्वास अब तुझ पर मेरा, दृढ़ विश्वास अब तुझ पर मेरा।
Once the master was asked what he wanted out of life. He responded simply, "To please my master." At another time, when he was asked what his role was, he replied, "I am here as a sevadar." This is the humility of the masters. Despite their greatness, they see themselves as a servant of the Sangat. Hazur Maharaj Ji once said, "I am the servant of the Lord, and the Lord is in everyone." His inauguration speech is a poignant example of the humility of the mystics. My love for Hazur Maharaj Ji, the commands of Sardar Bahadur Ji, and the affection of the Sangat compel me to carry out the wishes of Sardar Bahadur Ji, to serve the Sangat and the Dera. But when I look at myself and my shortcomings, I feel diffident and find myself unable to decide whether I am really fit for these onerous duties. Compelled by Sangat's love and faith in Hazur Maharaj Ji, I have submitted myself to the Sangat, and the Sangat can do as they see fit. On one occasion in Indore, Hazur Maharaj Ji held 3 initiation sessions in a day, taking his dinner finally at 11 p.m. He then left for Delhi by train, travelling overnight to give satsang there the following day. From Delhi he proceeded to Byas to be there in time for Bhandara. His concern for the Sangat was without limits. When he had his first heart attack, Hazur Maharaj Ji explained to his doctor why there was no question of him cutting back his schedule. He said, "Dr. Sahab, when a fisherman throws food in the water to attract fish into his net, if the fish gather in large numbers, he does not then refuse to pull the net, saying it is too heavy. This he should have realized when he threw the food into the water. Now he has no option but to haul in the entire load. Now there is no way but to initiate these souls." "Do not worry, I will be all right. Doing great master's work never tires me. I am happy to do my duty." For 40 years, Hazur Maharaj Ji dedicated his life wholeheartedly to carrying out the seva of his master assigned to him.
सारा क्योंकि अल्टीमेटली इस हिस्से में मैं लंगर के अंदर ले आऊंगा, लंगर का पहला बंदा लेवल है ना, वो भी देख लेगा, शूट कर देगा। हाँ, तो उस
On his last day in the office, he wrote on his desk diary, "In the service of my Guru, the true master." Babaji during his inaugural speech said, "This servant is unable to say much to the Sangat at this time except that in obedience to the orders of the great Master and my beloved Sadguru Maharaj Ji, I have come to present myself in your service." All of us should, with full faith in the noble and lofty teachings of Hazur Maharaj Ji, draw inspiration from the ideal established by him during his lifetime through his own personal example. Try to live the life of a good satsangi and continue to attend to meditation with love and devotion. Since the beginning, every master has carried out his own master's spiritual work with dedication and loving devotion. They are the perfect Sevadars, a shining example for their disciples.
I think all through his life, the Master has given his prime years to Seva, to Satsang, and to the Sangat. So if we can do anything on our part, is just give our best. Put in our best foot forward and have that faith that he will carry through. He will take you through whichever way it is. He's driving, he's flying you, he's holding you. That's it.
As Babaji and all the masters have taught us, every disciple traveling the spiritual path is a Sevadar of the soul. The great Master said, "The best service to the Master is to do the devotional practice with love and faith as instructed. For by doing so, you do Master's work. You help him in performing his duty of taking you to Sachkhand."
Sister, service to Master is to follow the teachings, follow his instructions, to attend to your meditation, to live the way of Sant Mat. That is service to the Master. As Christ said, that sower is happy, and where the seed is sown, he is also happy. Gardener, when he is able to see a tree bearing fruit, he becomes happy. And the tree naturally, when it gives fruit, it's happy. So the real service of the Master is to attend to your meditation and to change your way of life according to the Sant Mat principles. That's the only service to the Master.
सतगुर की सेवा सफल है, जे को करे चित लाए, मन चिंदिया फल पावना, हाँ मैं विच हो जाए, बंधन तोड़े मुक्त होए, सच्चे रहे समाए, सतगुर की सेवा सफल है, जे को करे चित लाए, इस जग में है नाम अलभ है, गुरमुख वसै मन आए, नानक जो गुर सेव है आपना, औ तिन बलिहार जाओ। सतगुर की सेवा सफल है, जे को करे चित लाए।